Have you heard of the Cult DAO? The basically VC fund that is completely decentralized, that supports decentralization, reducing centralization, and just doing dope ass cool shit in crypto. Well, if you have, and if you like that ethos, then you might actually enjoy Revolt, which is like a buddy token similar to this, but it's more of a VC fund for people and actually causing a impact in society. If you're sick and tired of politics, you versus me, or the lobbying that happens here in the United States to manipulate the rules just for one side, or maybe the fake science, right? Maybe you're not aware that you can actually just pay to get the scientists to publish whatever they want. It points in one direction. Or maybe the lifelong politicians, that people like Joe Biden, who haven't done fucking anything, and they're still in office because it's corrupt. Or maybe the corporations that benefit from perpetual war after war after war. Well, if any of those connected, then you might just really enjoy Revolt. So, with that being said, if this is your first time here, what's good, chick? My name is Sam, and for those of you who are returning, it is good to freaking see you. Now, if you'd like to support, there's some links down below if you're watching on YouTube, or you can check out some cool stuff over at shop.letstalkpeds.com. But that is not what we wanted to talk about here. There's also some other social, Twitter, and on Instagram, or my other YouTube channel linked down below. That is not what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to get into Revolt. So what is Revolt? RVLT is a token that should be coming out. I don't have all the details, right? This is their site. It looks like it's by the same guys who are behind the Cult DAO, right? I'm personally a fan of the Cult DAO. By the way, I do not own any Cult DAO, but I am a fan of what they're doing. If you want to send me something, you're welcome to. But I just want to be 100% clear. I also don't own any of this thing either, but I think parts of it are super cool or interesting, what they're actually trying to accomplish. So what is this? Well, it's going to be based on the Polygon network, similar structure to the DAO, or the Cult DAO, in that there's a 0.4% tax on all transactions. So even if it's done on a DEX, I think you can use Uniswap for Polygon. I've never used Polygon before, but basically any transaction, there's going to be a 0.4% tax on there. Now, this tax goes into funding a treasury. This treasury is actually going to be utilized as the fund to actually fund people, not the companies or the entities like what happens over here, but they're going to fund the individuals who are doing, let's call it, I want to say cool stuff, but when you read through this, I don't necessarily agree with everything that they have to say in here, so we'll call it interesting stuff. How about that? Who are you going to fund interesting stuff? So for an analogy, like the Cult DAO is similar structure, where the fund, or they call it the treasury, is filled up by these transactions with a 0.4% tax. Now, as this fills up, the Cult DAO proposals are put forth and they're voted on, and then they are funding entities. They're funding entities with, at current prices, something like $26,000, like 20 grand, right? So not tremendously like a lot, but if somebody's bare bones, depending on where they're living in around the world, 20 grand can last, you know, a while. Not going to create a tremendous like impact, but some things can be funded multiple times. If you're doing something in DeFi that supports decentralization and or reducing centralization or just doing cool shit, right, as a company or entity, right, then that's what this is for. Now, this, on the other hand, is going to be supporting individuals to basically increase adoption. What drives prices? What drives prices? Demand. Demand drives prices. So if you want a token to increase in price, you need to have an increase in demand. If you want to charge higher prices, you need an increase in demand. I used to follow Tesla very, very closely before I got into crypto. You can check back in older videos, but I think it was in 2021, Tesla raised prices about 20 times across their different models. Think about that for a second. Tesla, stupid, astronomical demand, because they just had the best thing in the market. They raised prices by 20 times, right? That they're raising prices. Now what happens in the actual market, right, of the token? Well, if you have an increased demand for the token, by thus increasing people into crypto, increasing people into Cult, increasing people into Revolt, how could you structure something to incentivize people to do this? The way they're going about doing this is by setting it up related to politics, as we mentioned, like the you versus me and the constant division that is put forth, because there's people that benefit from that is put forth in the media and by supposed, I'm going to say, people that call them leaders in government, right? And this is kind of put forth. They talk about war in their manifesto. It's 20, or their white paper thing. It's 29 pages. Pretty good read. I didn't care for the font. I found it a little bit more challenging. I like the actual font of the DAO better. The Cult DAO. Not a big deal, but definitely something that I thought about multiple times while I was reading through this. It would just be easier if they don't make it cockeyed, just make it straight up and down. Like, just make it straight up and down and make it easier font to read, personally. Like, that's what I would do. There was one or two words where I was like, I have no idea what that says, because the fucking font's hard to read. But that's besides the point. Now, this 0.4% tax is going to get distributed based upon proposals set forth by people who are going out there and spreading the word around what is happening in Cult and what is happening with Revolt. I have some questions about this at the end, and then some other things too that weren't mentioned in here. But how this is going to be distributed is based upon all these proposals coming in. I'll just be like, hey guys, I just made a cool video about Revolt and Cult, right? Well, why don't you pay me, right? I'm spreading the word, right? So I'm doing something on the internet that is spreading the word, and then I could submit a proposal. How is that actually approved? Well, there are 10 NFT holders. I don't know what NFTs or what that actually means because I didn't go into detail. And then there are 490 Revolt stakers who vote, right? So you have 10 NFT holders. Where is this NFT? What is it? I have no idea. And they didn't talk about it. And clearly there's just not enough information out yet. So we'll probably get details on this in the future. And then you get your Revolt, you can stake it. And by staking it, you get to actually vote on these proposals, right? So you're like, well, if there's several thousand people, right? How come only 500 get their vote? Well, it is a rotating pool, random. So if you're in the staking pool, every 15 days, according to what they said, a new 500 is chosen to actually go through and vote, and you get 5% of that tax. You get 5% of that distribution from that by being active and voting. And if we take a look at the total that is going to be distributed, so sorry, I'm like, hey guys, I just did a video on Revolt. I'd like to get paid because I'm spreading the word, right, or increasing adoption. So if my proposal got approved, say that was, and you can get into, we're going to get into the proportions of it in a second, but say if it gets approved, say if it, for example, was $1,000, I would get $400, $250 worth of that $1,000 would go to burning Revolt, right? So there's a decent amount that goes towards burning. 25% is sent to the stakers. So stakers are going to be earning by participating in the voting. Right? Only 500 of them can participate at once, but 500 of those are going to earn 5% of that, right? So I'm like, hey guys, $1,000 to your boy here, right? You're like, okay, right? He is making content and gets approved. I get $400. The people who voted to approve that, they get 5%, right? So what is that, $50? Yeah, $50 of 1,000. So they would get $50, and that $50 would be spread, if it was $1,000 in the proposal, that would get spread or distributed over the 500 people who were voted. Do the NFT holders get to vote, or are they the ones just submitting proposals? I'm not sure. They didn't get into enough detail. Like, how do you submit proposals? Can anybody submit proposals? Why is there 10 NFT holders in there? Who are the NFT holders? How do you get an NFT holder? It says consistent NFT holders. Is there a duration or a time commitment to how long you need to hold an NFT holder to be one of these, quote, guardian people or something? I don't know. I didn't get into any of the details on this stuff. The pool of 500 people rotates every 15 days. It appears by this paper. Now, you're like, wait, 25% goes to burning the token. 25% goes to the stakers of Revolt token. 40% goes to Sam. 5% goes to the people who voted on that. That's only 95%. Where does the other 5% go? Well, the other 5% goes to a multi-sig wallet to buy and burn Cult, right? So 5% of the $1,000, $50 worth of this goes to Cult, goes to a multi-sig wallet to buy and burn this. Now, some questions about the longevity of doing something in that structure, right? How do you do that in perpetuity, right? It seems like an issue, right? What happens if I die and I'm a multi-sig person? Like, how do you set up something for perpetuity in a multi-sig wallet like that? I don't know. Be interested to learn more, right? Be very curious. So when we look at all those, Sam gets 40%, 25% is burnt from the Revolt tax. 25% goes to the stakers, 5% goes to the people who are voting in the system. So the people who are voting in the system are getting paid twice, right? They're stakers, so they're getting paid by the 25%, and then by participating in the voting, they get 5% spread over those 500 people. And then 5% goes towards Cult, buy and burn through the multi-sig wallet. You're like, ooh, kind of interesting, right? Very, very interesting structure. Now, when we look, the only thing that, like, I would like more detail, but I guess I always want more detail on this kind of stuff. Like some of those questions around the NFTs, how the proposals are actually put forth, and whatnot. I'm sure they'll be answered. I'm sure they'll come forth in the future. But I did have a couple more questions. But But before I get into those questions, I want to talk about this, right? So what are the proposal amounts? So we have 0.1 wrapped ETH, because this is on the Polygon network, so ETH is not over there. It's wrapped ETH. Okay, so 0.1, 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, 1 ETH, and 1.5 ETH, right? So if ETH right now is around $1,500, then the maximum payout for a proposal at current prices for wrapped ETH of $1,500 is about $2,250. So $2,250, right? If I was like, hey guys, I'm doing this dope ass shit, like you should pay me, right? So 1,500 times 1.5, so 2,250 times 0.4. That means I would get $900. So when you look at this, gaming the system, I mean, you're only going to get $900. Like if I'm a bad character, if I'm a nefarious person, if I want to like steal from people, I mean, $900 is cool, but like I'd much rather steal like a lot more than $900, right? When the amount is lower, unless it's super easy for somebody to steal, like they did mention you can put in up to 1,000 proposals over a 48-hour period of time during that 15-day like window. It looks like there's about 5 days to get things approved, right? So say 1,000 are submitted in the first 48 hours, then 3 days there's reviewing those, and then there's voting on it. So I think that they maybe 5 days to get something approved. And I guess I could submit proposals from multiple different, wallets. I don't know if I can submit them or if it would be like those NFT holders. So these are some of the questions I would have. But the fellows behind this, sounds like they're in the UK or something, or in Europe, because they spell aeroplane as AERO, and there was a couple other grammatical things where you're like, okay, this person doesn't seem like they're native to America. And even when they talk about something and they mention the United States, they specifically point to the United States. So it just makes me think that the people behind this are not the United States. Does that matter? Not at all. Okay, so in this category, 0.1 ETH to 0.25 ETH, right? So let's do the math on that. So we have 1,500 times 0.1 times 0.4, so $60. So this is $60. So, okay, guys, I get $60 from this. Cool, still dope ass shit, right? That's amazing. These two tiers will generally be for the internet-based actions at the low end of the spectrum, but still needed as a mass account. In mass accounts is keyboard warriors, not in the liberal cancel culture section. I just added that, but that's just basically the section on how to get what is going to be used as a kind of a framework to gauge whether something should be approved or not, and this can be up for interpretation. Now the first one, you're like, okay, cool, that's good. The second one, okay, cool, kind of not bad. The third and fourth ones, I'm like, I don't know if I kind of like this stuff, but clearly from wherever this person's point of view is coming from, they agree with this. All right, so 0.5 ETH. At current ETH prices is around 800, blah, blah, blah. Okay. This is for those taking physical action to spread the cult manifesto and spread the message of Revolt to earn. This could be a day or a weekend of leafletting. So this is going to be like putting out flyers, putting out stickers, maybe with a QR code, protesting, or other peaceful yet important action to make cult visible to the people in real life as well as online, and spreading it to those who are not spending as much time online. You're like, okay, cool, interesting. Well, I like that. 0.5 ETH at current prices. Let's see what that comes out to be. So it'll be 60 times 5. So it'll be like $300. Cool, right? You're like, get 6 or 7 friends together. Each person gets $300. We're doing some cool, fun shit. We're probably going to learn from it. Now, these are the ones where it's like, interesting, but I don't know, because I still want to encourage stupid behavior, right? And I could see people going through this and just, utilizing this as their definition for doing stupid shit, right? Like dumb, idiotic behavior. We've seen enough of that. So that's like my only concern about these last two sections here. So in order to get 0.75 ETH, right? So 0.75 ETH at current value is times 0.4, so 450 bucks, right? To get 450 bucks, I just don't want to encourage stupid behavior. Like we already saw this happening in 2020 massively, and in 2021, and there's still stupid behavior happening. So I don't want to. That's my concern with these last two parts. I don't want these to be created, and you can just use this to create chaos, right? Because this can all be structured in a decentralized way, and stupid fucks are going to create things like this to purposely cause damage to society and people because they revel in this kind of behavior. And I can see this as being like the framework that they use to create more destruction, right? And more harm for people. So there's like, for me personally. Anybody familiar with or who has taken part in activist movements in the past will know the term spicy action as opposed to a normal action. These actions are spicy because they come with a degree of risk. This could be imprisonment, arrest, damage to property, or other impacts that further the cause, but may put the revolutionary in harm's way from the current system's laws or from the current system's bodyguards. Yeah. Get my point, hopefully. Let's look at the next one. 1 ETH to 1.5 ETH. Remember, this is not a terrible ton of money here, right? So at the 1,500, right, times 1.5 times 0.4 is 900 bucks. 900 bucks. Not a terrible sum of money, but people will do dumber shit for 10 bucks. So these are actions which will and could likely lead to positive and negative attention from the media and authorities. And they go on to this list. No physical harm should befall your fellow human, or should any damage befall any residential property. No mom and pop stores. Save your anger for the channel. For Chanel, Gucci, Dior, Walmart. Keep it classy. So, you're kind of losing me in this last part here. Think about who the action is affecting. If it is an institution or your fellow humans. I like the idea. I like this. This is super interesting. I like the idea of increasing adoption of crypto. Right, that's effectively what this can be distilled down to. Some of these stuff here on how these rewards are going to be distributed, I can just see this being a problem. This could definitely be a problem. This can really incentivize dumb fucks to do dumb fucking shit. And that is a concern of mine. So, excited, super cool, but I do have my concerns. Another couple concerns is here you have some locked liquidity. Nothing was said about liquidity here. Not necessarily an issue, but potentially, right? There's no mention of an audit. There's no mention of an audit or who put together the audit. So, right, what's up with that? There is, and I would assume there would be an audit, but I don't know. They don't mention it. There is also no mention about admin keys, right? I would assume that they're just going to be smart contracts, but these are three assumptions that could be wrong, right? And if you're considering security, if security is important to you, then you probably don't want admin keys on your shit, right? Because then that's what the US dollar is. US dollar can just be like, F your shit, bro. I'm increasing the supply by 2x and you're effed, right? Just bend over. So, like, those are some concerns, or at least if you're thinking about this, to pay attention to, right? Do you support something that, right? And I guess that anything that you're going to call revolutionary, right, has the ability, or like some of this stuff, clearly this is going to be where the vast majority of this is put forth, but at the same time, I'm like, the other thing just has a little bit of concern for me, the admin keys, the audit, and if they're going to say anything about the liquidity on this. How I'd also like to see a longevity plan for the multi-sig wallet, right? So say you have 4 people, 5 people involved, actual humans. How can you automate this? What needs to be done to automate this? And if you don't feel that you're technically or creatively or resourceful enough to figure that out, then how is this done so that when somebody is passing away or something happens, like how is this going to live into the future? And that kind of thing. I don't know. Love to hear what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. If you liked the video, make sure to take a second to share this out with somebody else. We're going to be checking into deep dive videos like this all of the time to check out what is actually happening in crypto and find the really cool stuff out there to understand where the risk is and where the rewards are and what's happening in the crypto space. So appreciate you. Take a second to share this out. Take a second to check down below if you'd like to support the channel. Twitter, Instagram, my other YouTube channel, all of that kind of stuff is down below. Stuff related to fitness is on the other YouTube channel. A lot of fitness stuff on Instagram and a lot of crypto stuff on Twitter. Appreciate you. Peace.